Hey guys, working on a 2000 Ford Expedition 5.4 all-wheel drive, changing the brake pads and rotor on it. Wanted to show this video because not a lot of videos out there that show this particular application. Because normally when you're changing brake pads, you can either rotate the pad out to change pads. This one I wanted to show you guys as I'm going back together why that doesn't work on this particular model. I think some of the newer ones, like a 2001 on up, Ford Expedition F150s, I've seen on YouTube they're a little bit easier to change the pads. Just easy by meaning you can just rotate the caliper forward and just change the pads. On this one you actually do have to take the actual mounting brace off completely to be able to get these pads back in. But anyway, I wanted to show you real quick, not real quick, but it's going to be a process. I just wanted to show you real quick how this goes back together for this particular, since there's hardly any YouTube videos out there. Let me show you another thing too. When you take the calipers off, we do like to hang them as best you can, but there's a nice little plate, this dust shield plate on this side that we can just swing the caliper around and it'll rest right here in this little shelf area, and it doesn't have a lot of pressure on this line, and that way everything is good and it won't fall and put any pressure on the brake line. So we're going to go back together with the new rotor, and we had to go to new rotor because it seems like every time on this vehicle the inside pad wears. And the I'll show you in a second where the indicator, little screech, the screecher, what I call a screecher, I don't know what the technical term for it is. So anyway, I'm trying to get this out the way a little bit better. There we go. I think it's going to stay there. So we get the rotor back in place, and then the pads have to go into this. So you want the arch to follow the way of the rotor. And I was going to put the screecher because on these, some of these they call them a Garfield ear or bunny rabbit ears, but these pads are the same. They are identical. There's no bunny rabbit ears on top. The only thing different on these is one of them in the pair has the screecher, which screecher is when the brake pad gets worn, you're supposed to hear it'll have an awful high-pitched screeching saying, hey, the pad's getting worn, time to change some pads. And they normally go on the outside, because if it goes on the inside, I'll show you later when I put the caliper on, this part's going to rub the boot on the caliper, and you don't want to rupture these boots. They have some grease in them for sliding as the pads wear, and so almost every vehicle that I've worked on, the screecher is always on the outside, but almost every brakes that I've changed, the inside of the pads always wear quicker than the outside. So what we're going to do now, screecher goes on the outside. This is the outside part, and we'll slide it in from this way. We put our new, and they're the same length. One is shorter. Let me go through that real quick if I can get these back off. They're on there real good. But anyway, there's a short one and then a long one, and you'll see where they fit. The long one will go on the longer side. This is longer than this bottom, so that's real easy to put back on. Let's see, the screecher goes on the outside, and what you want to do is follow along in this little path on these holders. And the reason why you can't rotate the caliper up is because they have these lock ridges in these things, so it won't allow you to come out with it. In other words, this holder on most vehicles, on the newer ones, it'll stay here, and then you can rotate the caliper in and out, but you can't, not with the I'll show you as we're going back together. It may make more sense. So put the other side in. Spread them out a little bit to the edge. Now you got it looking like this. This is perfect. Outside edge. And they go on as such. Put your mounting bolts in. Get out of the way so you can see it. Which I had to take this mounting bar off anyway to be able to get to the rotor. The pads wore so much so far down that they dug into the rotor, and there's a minimum width on it. Some specs show like a 0.96, so and the maximum's like a 1.012 or something. So like 30 thousandths or something, or 60 thousandths. So it's not much. And when the pad wore, it really wore into this and got this real thin. So we had to get a new rotor. So we got a new rotor on. We got these snug. Tighten these up. So now this assembly bar is in place. Go ahead and squeeze these together so we can get our calipers on. And on this, you definitely gotta use some C-clamps to get your pistons back in, which we did that earlier. I'm just trying to save time. I don't have an editor, video editor or anything, so we're going to get these bad boys back on. Now there's a lip here, so, and there's no lip at the bottom other than on the outside. So now there's two lips here, so it's hard to rotate it out. This is a different design than you see mostly on YouTube. This is why I wanted to do this video, because you got to do it different. Even to change pads, you're going to have to take this assembly bar out. So what we'll do, we'll catch this ear. Make sure your boots and your pistons are out the way. The one at the bottom, and she should slide right on. We'll go ahead and put one in here, let you see pretty much how it goes together. So we got that one started. And this one here at the bottom is already in. And that one started. And this particular one takes the Torx bit as well. Some of the newer ones that I saw on YouTube actually have a hex bolt here, but this is a Torx, and I'm using a Torx. What size is this? A T45. And so that's pretty much it. I mean, this baby is back together. All I got to do is tighten everything up. But anyway, hope this helps. So there's no way to rotate it out because of these two ears here. There's no way to rotate it out to change your pads, and because of the two ears on the brake pads, this is the only way I found that it works. It's fairly easy, a little time consuming, but the newer models, from what it looks like on YouTube, 2001 and newer, are a lot easier, where you can take this caliper out, leave this bracket here, just to change the pads. But on this one, just to change the pads, you got to take your bracket off to be able to get your pads in. Anyway, wanted to show that real quick, and talk to y'all later.